Zohran can't make your wishes come true. You're thinking of Zoltar. Democrats must recognize that Zohran Mamdani is the future of the party. Unfortunately, it's the Republican Party. Get it? And if you missed his victory speech in last week's mayoral election in New York, don't worry. You'll see it in every attack ad for the next 2 years.
Bill Maher is once again cutting through political noise with his blunt, funny, and very real take that makes both sides uncomfortable. In this video, we break down why his latest criticism of woke progressive ideas and people like Zohran Mamdani hits harder than anything the left has put out this election cycle.
Gen Z thinks socialism's wired and capitalism's tired and billionaires are what's for dinner. And who can blame them? If you're 30 and still sharing a bathroom with roommates, capitalism isn't working for you. People will reject any economic system where there's strange hair on the soap. It turned one of Latin America's richest countries into one of its poorest. Low wages, high inflation, shortages, outages, 8 million people fleeing. If you think New York can somehow reinvent this wheel, you're in for a rude awakening. Zohran can't make your wishes come true. You're thinking of Zoltar.
Zohran can't grant wishes, just like democratic socialism can't magically solve problems. Both look good in shiny speeches, but the big dreams usually fall apart in reality. Politicians who promise utopia make great headlines, but terrible real-world results. And if Mamdani's victory speech already sounds like an attack ad, it means voters probably saw the warning signs early. The whole woke dream collapses the moment it hits real budgets, where big promises run into potholes, payroll, and basic math.
Democrats must recognize that Zohran Mamdani is the future of the party. Unfortunately, it's the Republican Party. Get it? And if you missed his victory speech in last week's mayoral election in New York, don't worry. You'll see it in every attack ad for the next 2 years. Mamdani seems like a nice guy, and I congratulate him on an extraordinary political achievement. But before the whole left side of the country catches socialism fever, let's listen to the other big winner in last Tuesday's election, Virginia Governor-elect Abigail Spanberger, who, before the 24 election, said things like, "If the party didn't shift to the center, we will get f***ing torn apart. And we need to never use the word socialist or socialism ever again."
Selling Zohran Mamdani as the future of the party while he gives Republicans ready-made sound bites is basically Democrats handing their weaknesses to the GOP on a silver platter. When your victory speech sounds like a midnight rant, you're giving the other side their next campaign ad. This kind of dramatic radicalism doesn't help swing districts, it pushes them away. Maher's main point remains true. Moderates win in Trump districts because they talk to persuadable voters, not just the activist crowd. That's how elections are actually won.
At least the party has a clear choice here, very clear. One wing is saying don't ever use the word socialist again, and one is saying,
I am a democratic socialist.
Clear, huh? So how do we decide who's right? Well, it turns out we don't really have to flip a coin. We have the evidence. In 2024, 13 Democrats won in districts Trump also won, all moderates. This isn't rocket science. All the left-leaning think tanks have done autopsies on 2024, and they all came up with the same message. Move to the center.
Maher's message is simple. Those 13 Democrats who won in Trump districts didn't do it with slogans or ideology. They won by being moderates, not by performing political cosplay. Voters respond to practical solutions, not to speeches full of theory while they deal with real-life problems like cold showers and broken utilities. Until candidates focus on everyday frustrations instead of proving ideological purity, the political center will keep moving away from the far left.
If you're 30 and still sharing a bathroom with roommates, capitalism isn't working for you. People will reject any economic system where there's strange hair on the soap.
Capitalism isn't perfect, but it usually provides the private bathrooms and basic comfort people want. Unlike big ideological systems that still leave a mystery hair on your soap bar, capitalism gives predictable results. When daily life becomes difficult, people don't run toward theories, they choose the system that gives them stability. That's why Poland's market reforms succeeded while Venezuela's 21st century socialism collapsed. If any political system wants loyalty, it should at least make sure people don't have to share shampoo with a stranger.
In 1990, Venezuela was wealthier than Poland. But then Poland, finally free of Soviet-style economics, went all in on capitalism. And now their economy is as big as Japan. And people there have high wages, low inflation, cars, vacations, homes. Meanwhile, Venezuela traded capitalism for Hugo Chavez's socialism for the 21st century, which turned out to be like socialism in the last century or any century, a f***ing mess.
Poland and Venezuela show the difference clearly. When you have strong institutions, open markets, and rule of law, you get stability. But when you rely on dreamy state control, things eventually fall apart. 21st century socialism looks exciting on paper, but collapses as soon as reality shows up. Like a dating profile with perfect photos but a terrible in-person meetup. And when single-payer trials fail at a small scale, voters can easily imagine the disaster it would be at 340 million people. They don't remember the speeches, they remember the long waits, the rationing, and the broken promises.
Democratic socialism is like a dating profile. Things look great until you meet up in the real world. For example, Bernie Sanders, his big thing was always bringing single-payer health care to our country of 340 million. But when liberal, tie-dyed Vermont tried to do it for a population of 626,000, it collapsed like that poor in the Oval Office last week.
Democratic socialism looks beautiful in campaign ads, big ideas and hopeful language. But once reality hits, it turns into an apartment with no heating. Vermont's failed single-payer experiment proved this. Bernie's national plan may sound noble, but pretending the bills don't exist is just political catfishing. Bernie, AOC, and Mamdani may proudly wear the Democratic Socialist label, but voters usually prefer candidates with real funding plans, real numbers, and ideas that can actually survive contact with the real world.
Bernie, AOC, Mamdani are not Democrats. They'll be the first to tell you that. They're Democratic Socialists, and that's a very different thing, and I don't think people know that yet. I don't think people realize we already have a lot of socialists.
Bernie, AOC, and Zohran Mamdani can push their Democratic Socialist brand, but swing voters want stability, not a political identity test. People already deal with enough government in their lives. They don't want a revolution when they're tired of both MAGA drama and left-wing fantasies about government-run grocery stores. Call yourself anything you want, but elections are won by sounding practical and reasonable, not by making politics a performance.
You think you're going to win an election on that? This just seems like more extremism at a time when Americans are begging both parties, please, could just one of you act normal? It's either defund the police or military in the streets. Either MAGA's crypto crony capitalism or city-run grocery stores. No, I don't want that. I want a Democrat who reassures me if you like your Whole Foods, you can keep your Whole Foods.
Extreme ideas on either side might make good jokes, but they make terrible policy. Telling suburban voters their only choices are armed militias or government-owned supermarkets is a fast way to lose them. Most people want normalcy and competence, not a revolution or a rerun of chaos. When Mamdani and the far left offer lifestyle statements instead of real solutions, moderates tune out. If your message can't assure voters that they'll keep their grocery store, their paycheck, and their stability, you've already lost the audience. Winning requires keeping the room with you.